Hi, hello, welcome back. My name's Devaraj. Welcome back to my bioenergetics channel. Oh, haven't shaved today. Look a little bit rough. But I didn't do a therapy live stream for quite a long time, and a couple of people were asking me. So I thought, hey, let's schedule one and see if anyone rocks up and they got any interesting questions. I've been kind of in the last few months really trying to I don't know, get really clear about some targets, ambitions, ideas, longer term plans, and make gradual steps daily or weekly towards them. Uh, those of you who regular subscribers to my channel know I've been talking about my bioenergetics book for a year or two, and now the last 4 weeks, I've been doing writing every day and committing to that 200 words a day, which is not a huge amount, but it keeps me in the flow of it and it keeps it moving. And I'm hopeful that by the end of the year, I'll be able to get it out basically and privately publish it. The main drama is getting some line drawings done of the thing. I've got a couple of people lined up. Hopefully can take that on. Lines drawing, I'm going to include like 50 to 100 exercises and some theory stuff. So I really want to make it like a really great first edition and then maybe do some updates in coming years. But I feel like there's a real lack of good information about bioenergetics. Hey, GMO. Hey, Mohammed. Nice to see you guys too. Or see you're here anyway. So, I'm picking myself up with that. I'm also looking a little bit, what do I want to do, longer term around bioenergetics. A lot of people come towards me wanting to train as teachers, wanting to, really step up. And there aren't really any good trainings around that I see, When I was learning to be a therapist, I trained a lot at the Osho University in Holland. That was quite expensive. They're still working there. But in the UK, and I also see in the States, there's really very little going on actually in reality. It seems that way, kind of deep, more confrontational therapeutic approach, how to get involved in that and how to learn to hold that kind of space. There's very little about. So, that is a kind of long-term plan for me. And I'm kind of just slowly getting my head around. I started a little website, debsplace.org.uk, where I'm just sketching out a few little ideas of what I want to do. It's kind of an ongoing little project. But this feels good for me. It gives me a good sense of meaning in my life that I'm working towards certain bigger projects that I would like to do, while I'm here basically. And the book, and starting to look, and it's a kind of offshoot from the book as well, how to train people so that they can hold the space and teach bioenergetics. I don't want to see this technique disappear from our earth. In many ways, I don't know if things get more fucked up or better or worse or whatever, but certainly I don't have the sense that, some major revolution in consciousness is about to overtake people. It seems to be more that everyone's more and more on their phone, including me sometimes and whatever. And people don't really know a way back. That's the thing. I don't have a problem with people being on their phone. But if you don't know a way back into your body afterwards, then that's an issue. That is an issue. And so, bioenergetics is the quickest way back that I know, because that's one of its primary intentions, that you can really occupy and inhabit your own body. So, I want to make sure that knowledge about that stuff is getting passed on. I want to do my bit towards that, and to support people who really want to step up and learn how to teach it, create some training courses, 1 month intensives, or, 1 year long kind of stuff where you come each month for a few days or something like this. And I'm starting to get my head around that, where you do a lot of bioenergetics and you also learn the theory underneath it, and you also learn how to hold the space, how to be on the mic, how to, deliver content and monitor people, and get going with it. Because I think it's a big need. I don't want to see, this amazing technique kind of die off in some way, and it's always been one of those things, because it's a bit confrontational and, your ego probably doesn't like it at some point quite early on, and we live in such a comfort driven world with so much potential for comfort all the time. Bio has always been one of those things that it's kind of, it's tricky for people to really engage with it. But there are people who want to, and also if people get together in a group, then it becomes like a group experience, and the group supports people to go deeper and to keep moving. So there's still immense potential there. It's just kind of finding a way to realize that. So I'm busy with that, and I'm taking practical steps on a kind of with my book on a daily basis, and with other things, just getting the ideas together. In my own practice with bio, I've been quite busy with this animal crawl recently, and really getting into that and learning, how these animals that move in this way with one hand and the opposite foot, what they're doing is pumping energy into their core, into their belly, all the time that they're moving like this. And you see a bear moving like a big brown bear. We don't get them in the UK, but I see them on TV, from Canada or wherever. You see them moving around. What it's doing on an energetic level, the bear, is it's pumping energy into its core as it moves in this way. And, deep in our DNA, we've got the same kind of understanding and realization, or the same potential, but we've come out of that space. We've come out of that space, and we're just, thinking and thinking and thinking all the time. But when you start to activate these circuits, so this is an aspect of bioenergetics I love, you activate these old circuits up again, and, people, it's like you come back into your body and into this kind of much deeper animal reality, and you can really feel into the belly. So I've been finding this animal crawl excellent stuff. It's a great supplement. Those of you who follow my channel, I was doing belly work for quite a long time, last year and a bit of this year with a belly activation. And this animal crawl is a great kind of adjunct to that, because it also just really works the belly. And in addition, it really gets your breathing going, breathing down towards your gut. I regularly teach a 1 hour class twice a week here at Osho Lila, and I've been bringing it in there. Some people don't like it so much, but afterwards you feel good. Afterwards you feel good. It's got elements that you'd find in, interval training and that kind of thing in it. It's got that kind of cardio thing that you really go through, especially if you try and do bear run, running like a bear across the group room. I'm going to do a video about that soon. So I'm really into that. I've also really been developing some more lower body exercises, developing the psoas release, and some of Alexander Lowen's exercises taken from the Way to Vibrant Health, I think was the title of the book, where he gave a lot of exercises out. And there's some great stuff there. And I think it's particularly good work for men, to work around the pelvis, and particularly the psoas and opening the pelvic floor. A lot of guys have a lot of tension there. And for women, not so much, because they have babies, basically. So I think somewhere naturally, genetic, whatever, their pelvis is more open at the base, and it's like for men, they get very tightened up there. And then it's like, it's hard to kind of breathe deeply and be with situations. There's a need often in men to cling on. Sorry, I was eating some food just now. There's a need often seeing men to cling on, and then that's very difficult to do in today's world, because also, women don't find that an attractive quality to have some guy who's like super clingy. Usually, they want a man to be kind of strong and independent, and so guys learn to try and fake being strong and independent, but inside they just feel weak and vulnerable and clingy, and then this creates unhealthy dynamics inside their psyche. And these pelvic exercises are very useful to get the base, the pelvic floor more open, so your energy can kind of flow down, to feel your back more as well, that you get this shaking going. It's very good. You feel your back more, and there's less of a tendency to feel, God, I just need someone to cling on to, I just need someone to cling on to. You can stand your ground and stand in your power a lot better. So, I'm enjoying those exercises as well. I've developed this thing called 10 position release. Those of you who follow me know we had 5 position for release, which was working a lot of the upper body circuits. And then I started to add in animal crawl into that, and then add in these, pelvic floor exercises as well. And so if you haven't tried it yet, try position. This is a great thing. I'm doing it like on a 1.5 minute ding, 3 times in the morning, and that takes like 5 minutes. And then mostly when I've got time, I'll then do 10 minutes with the belly roller, really getting into my belly. I'm noticing in the last 2 weeks, I'm starting to cut out habits that I'm not happy with, snacking too much, having too much sugary stuff every now and again, too much black tea. I've kind of dropped that quite a lot. And stimulants, not heavy stimulants, but from my drug taking past, inevitably the drugs get replaced by less kind of obnoxious ones, but there's still that basic, tendency to rely on substances a little bit in me, and slowly, bit by bit, I can feel that coming away now, and just the underlying thing that it's treating all the time is anxiety, this feeling like I'm not okay right now, or I need to kind of perk my energy up and move myself forwards. I look at my daily day, and often I get to about 3-4 o'clock and I just want to space out on mode and eat snacks or something, and listen to YouTube videos and stuff. And it's not that it's so wrong, but sometimes I'm just doing it in a really unconscious way, in that I'm avoiding something inside my own body, a feeling, and I'm starting to pull myself up with this stuff. I find it also helpful to watch, guys on YouTube, who are out there doing stuff, and how they present themselves, and they go out into the world, and I also go out into the world, but I see that the content that I can deliver is well in advance of what a lot of other people are doing, but it's developing that engagement, and also staying with myself, really developing me, that's also important and a good investment for me. So I'm just I feel good about the last few months. I also do a bit of trading, and some of that's been pretty fucked up recently. I lost money, but it doesn't super affect me, partly because I get used to it, and secondly, I work with the feelings, with the bio, sharing and stuff. And at the end of the day, my core is that I'm a therapist and a workshop leader, and I like to work with these body-based techniques, and the other stuff is a bit of a sideline, So I try just to come back to that and be creating good content. I'm going to make a video soon about tobacco, which I haven't been into for a while, but about a decade, 15 years ago, I was really into using tobacco as a shamanic substance. You may have heard of it in that context. They call it I think the grandfather, they call it in Latin America, and ayahuasca is a grandmother. And the story was, by imbibing tobacco, the tobacco spirit taught the Latin Americans, particularly in Peru, how to brew ayahuasca, which is quite difficult stuff to brew. If you've ever been involved in it, I never tried brewing it myself. I've taken it a few times, but tobacco kind of taught them how to do it, how to get this root out and this vine and whatever, and to do it. And it's quite a powerful substance, tobacco, and there's different ways you can use it. And it's also legit, it's legal, essentially. And you can get like fairly pure tobacco, you don't want to use like Marlboros and stuff, as allegedly got, or I heard back in the day, it's got 3,000 additives and stuff. You can get pure tobacco still around. So I'm going to make a video about that soon. And yeah, I did a video about Balinese shaking, just picking up some, stuff from I've been 20 years in this field, and there's all sorts of stuff I've done. And some of it I also want to pass on a bit, and transmit, not because I think I'm about to keel over and die or go somewhere else, but I am busy with meaning and with passing things on. It's like, I don't know, I got to a certain age, I'm 58 now, and I'm busy with it. I want to train younger people up who've got the potential. I'm also learning how to take a position with them as well. I'm over this team leader program at Osho Lila, and we're trying to step that up. A buddy of mine, Navajata, very good therapist, is also involved in that now. He just came in, and it's all looking, for me, what I see with a lot of younger people. I mean, I was the same when I was in my 20s and 30s. I knew it all best, and I always wanted to do my own thing. And I'm learning different ways to kind of confront this in the young people that I have to work with, or that come for stepping up stuff, and say to them, you cannot expect to just go out in the world and do your own thing, and that it's going to be meaningful. It's not reality. It's not reality. You have to subject yourself to a phase of learning with someone or a school or whatever. And the bottom line is you have to internalize how they do it, not how you want to do it, how they do it. And once you've got that, once you've internalized that, then, you can naturally develop your own way of working, And every good therapist I know, every good workshop leader I know did this. There weren't no shortcuts. There weren't no shortcuts. And we see all the shortcut stuff out there in the kind of, positive thinking movement, nothing wrong with it, dance therapy and tantra and stuff, which are all relatively, in terms of the body, lightweight approaches to change, and little training courses that you go and do for a little while, and suddenly you can do it. But the reality is, if we want to train, people up to be really, proper therapists in the coming for the coming generation, if there are people out, because there are people out there who want it, those people will have to go through quite a training. Fuck, I went through hell doing my therapist training. It was great as well, but sometimes it was on earth, and that was how it was. And it's not that I now think, oh, I have to subject other people to that, but I'm learning. I'm learning how to put this out to people, and they are responding. Because I have quite a lot of people in the 20s on the TLP program, and it's like, hey guys, stop trying to do everything your own way. Learn how I'm doing it. Once you've really got that, then you can do your own thing. But if you can't, if your ego is so kind of trippy that you can't allow yourself to be, to learn something someone else's way, you're not going to be a therapist or a workshop leader, or there's no, there's hardly any precedence for that ever on earth. It's the reality. So what I'm happy about in all of that is that I am learning to communicate to people in a way that they seem to be able to respond and nod their heads and say, okay, I get it now, Dev. I can't just charge off and always want to do my own thing. So that's cool. Let's have a little look if we've got any questions. What exercises helped you the most with social anxiety? How long does it take you to get off of it? I mean, in terms of, with social anxiety, at the end of the day, there's different approaches. One is the behavioral approach, which essentially means you have to find a safe way to progressively move towards whatever it is that you're anxious about. Maybe someone's a young guy and they're super anxious about talking to women, particularly women they're attracted to. You find a way, with support in some way, so that you can progressively start to talk to women, to communicate with them, whatever, So whatever makes you anxious, that's a behavioral approach. You start to move towards it, and you breathe when you're in fear, and you find a safe way so you don't just get shut down and think, shit, I'm never going to do that again, and just shut off completely. You find a safe way. From the body-based approach, you can work with bioenergetics with a bow and arch. It's very good for anxiety, because at the end of the day, anxiety is a charge inside your body, inside your muscle system. And the charge causes, when it's activated, you might not even really be aware of it so much, but your mind is like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I need to do something to change right now. I need to either get away from what's triggering, or I just need to do something. I'm not okay as I am. And you need to get this charge out bit by bit. And then you'll notice that you're going in the old situations that would make you anxious, and you feel the anxiety coming, but there's no charge behind it. And it's like, hey, wait a minute, I can breathe and I can do this shit. Whether it's presenting yourself in front of other people, whether it's talking to people you're attracted to, so if you can do both of these approaches, get really into the bow and arch on a daily level and learn how to do it properly. Don't just try and do it your own way. It's not going to work. Learn how to do it properly. Take the time and the investment, and look at the behavioral approach. How can you move towards, in a safe way, the things that you're anxious about? Social anxiety, being around people. It's a lot of old feelings from the past come up. It's tough, man. Hey, everyone's got the same old stuff as they had 20, 30 years ago, same old stuff. But the bottom line is, you have to learn how to really take yourself on. There's a lot out in, the scene I'm in, because I'm also in the positivity scene and the step up scene. I'm kind of, I know guys like Elliot Hulse and Jason Capital a bit and that kind of thing. And, they talk a lot about working hard, particularly Jason, talk about working hard, work. But also, it's like you have to have a certain commitment to your own growth and learning, And, if you need money to do workshops or to do a training in something, you have to find the money and fucking do it. It's like you have to say you're worth it. Of course, it's not just hurling money left, right, and center around the place, unless you've got a ton of it to just spend mindlessly. Most people don't. But it's really somewhere taking the position, even if you don't believe it at first that you're worth it, to take the position that I'm worth it, to change, to develop, to do a practice that works for me, half an hour a day, and to do it every fucking day. You have to take a position for yourself at some point and really do it, And the reality is, of all the people that kind of say they want to step up, probably only a few percent of those will really make it. But you can be in those few percent if you really commit. Commitment is such a powerful thing, and it's like, it's really misunderstood and underrated. We all think, looks are really important. We all think how big our brain is really important, our friends, these kind of things. But what I've seen over the years is the capacity to commit is if you can develop a capacity to commit to stuff, then you can really move and achieve stuff. That's the bottom line. You have to develop the capacity to commit and then to follow something through, and be rational, objective about it and see what is working for you. And I kind of knew somewhere I had that capacity, I could go all in for something. A lot of other aspects in my life I considered were totally, totally fucked up. I came from a highly traumatized childhood and background, abandonment and bad stuff happening, and nearly dying when I was a kid, and being in hospital a lot when I was a kid, and all sorts of horrible shit. And I didn't consider myself particularly good looking, tall, or having much chance with the hot looking women at school or whatever out in the world. But I knew one thing later, in my 30s, I could fucking commit. If I wanted to commit to something, I could really commit. And when I started to do big group workshops, big group therapy, go into it, I would look around at the rest of the group, the women that I fancied and the guys that I thought were better than me, and I put myself near the bottom of the fucking group, my own little league table. But I knew one thing: I could commit. And the reality is, a lot of that attitude has changed now. The constant kind of judgment and comparison, but also what I saw was that was what really came through. It didn't really matter so much how good looking you were, how clever you were, how much money you had, your background. The thing that mattered the most was, could you commit to something? And that kind of strength comes out of your belly somewhere, and that's why I focus, particularly in my bioenergetics classes, on working with the belly. It's why I recommend this animal crawl right now. Take the time to get it really right, of your hands in your foot position, so that you've kind of internalized it. And then you're activating that part of you that can move like that. And it gives you bottom, it gives you that power to commit. Belly activation also too. Vipassana, sitting and breathing and feeling your belly also too. But you have to do it, I'm going to be in this game for a long time, the rest of my life, I'm sure. I'll be some 90-year-old crotchety old therapist, but hopefully by then I'll have trained a load of people who are really kick-ass and doing it in the world, and that's my goal, that's my goal. And I'll still be going on about the belly by then, even then, I'm sure. This is it's the core of your being, and you have to get back down there and feel into there. And if you can stick with something, it will happen for you. Anyway, got a few people online. If you've got a question about your own bio practice, be brave and put it out. Be brave and put it out, because questions also help other people. People will tune into this later on and listen to it and check out what's going on. And maybe you ask a question that's really, really significant to someone else. And at the end of the day, the questions are great, of course, but of course, you got to commit to the change. That's what it comes down to. I know so many guys in this scene who may say, oh man, I just flick from one YouTube channel to the next with motivation, David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Elliot Hulse, and all of this, and they're doing all of that, but are they really committing to the exercises, to the practice? Are they pushing themselves in a way like this in an intelligent and ongoing fashion, And the answer to that question a lot of the time is no, and it's like, don't be a fucking couch potato. Yeah, sure, get on YouTube. I get on YouTube and listen to inspiring people, but also get out of a motherfucking chair and get something going. Get a program, develop a program for yourself and stick to it, and get the support you need. I'm hopeful that in the next couple of years, I can get a real training going here in the UK that people can get turned on to, and we create some energy and bring people in and really start to move people's energy. Because I learned when I first started getting into therapy and bio, and Osho was my channel in, really, that like, fuck man, we hold a lot of shit down. It's big, it's not little, it's big. We're sitting, everyone I've ever met and been in a group room with, they're sitting on a kiloton of stuff. It's kind of funny in a way because, I live in a big city now, in Brighton, not a big city, but pretty big city, most of the time. And, I see all these people that look really good and look really great. And some of them come to my workshops and you see, fuck, man, they've all got a ton of shit. You could see some gorgeous looking woman walking the streets and think, wow, if she can't have a care in the world, And I work with people, and then I realize, Jesus, they've got so much shit going on. And it was the same when I started to just be a participant in groups myself. I'd look at someone and think, God, that guy, he's got everything together. He's 6'4", he's big strong jaw, and he's got money and looks and everything. And you hear him in the group, and you see they've all got the same shit. We've all got the same shit. We've all got the same shit. And it does take a while to really move through it and to get the awareness. It's tough initially. That's why I want to get some decent groups going in the UK where people can come and get involved and support each other, have a supportive environment, because the world outside is not adequately supportive right now. And the reality is, we're carrying blocks, like fucking great rocks around inside of us, blocks. That is the reality. And you can't wear those down with a little bit of sandpaper, listening to inspirational speakers or meditating or doing dance therapy. It ain't going to fucking work. That's not reality. You might change your self-image a little bit, but all the shit in your muscle system is going to be staying there and maybe even getting reinforced. So you have to be willing, at some point to really say, okay, I'm going to commit to a therapeutic path or whatever, somewhere where I can clear the shit out and really get some awareness of what's going on inside of me and what to do about it, Okay, really good hearing this. I've been pretty lazy these past few weeks rather than daily practice. Only been once or twice a week recently. Need to get back on it. Need to kick up the arse. Yeah, man. But even if you keep going, just but you can keep going once or twice a week. That is also good. But you stick to a maintenance dose, man. That's pretty cool. A lot of people when they drop off, they just drop off completely. What usually happens, they have one intense session where stuff's going on and they don't really realize it inside. And then the next day it's like, oh, no, I won't do that. I'll do it the next day. Oh, no, I won't do that. And, they just drop it completely, and those guys are in the kind of 5% that want change but never get it. And you want to be in the 5% that want change and get it. And you have to pull yourself up in that. So, you still run back to like a maintenance dose of like twice a week. It's so cool. It's also cool. You don't drop it completely. That's a sign of someone with a lot of potential. Pietro, hey man. Thank you so much for your work. I have a question. Is it a good sign if I get ringing in the ears after bioenergetic workout? Ringing in the ears, interesting. Is it like a lot of ringing on stuff? I haven't really heard that. Someone asked me that question. Maybe it was you on a YouTube channel. One of the comments that you can pin on YouTube. Someone asked me that, I'm sure, in the last month or two. It's not so common, spontaneous body movement, burping, rushes of emotion, feelings of numbness, feelings of extreme tingliness. Those are all common kind of symptoms that I hear all the time from people, and I've had a lot of those myself. It'd be good to say, what exercise are you doing that gives you the ringing in the ears? Because I haven't heard that one so much. I don't know. It doesn't sound to me like it's something really dangerous, but nevertheless, it would be good to know. Something I do something I know about this, it's not often talked about. There's one or two schools of Buddhism where they talk about it, but there's a technique called the sound of silence. Because if you really sit and listen inside, there is a ringing in your ears anyway. And there's an old Buddhist guy, Ajahn Sumedho, Anglo-American, I think he is. Big, tall guy, used to be in the Navy years ago. Very old now. But he wrote a book called The Sound of Silence. Very little book. No one really heard of it very much. But he developed this technique of just sitting and listening to this gentle ringing in the ears. You don't normally notice it because your mind is busy. We're focused on the outside and that kind of thing. But there is a ringing in the ears anyway. And he used to use that as a meditation tool. So if you've got a little bit of time, you're listening, then what exercise are you doing? And is it really loud? It could just be that you're getting more sensitive internally and you're hearing something that was there anyway. You're going into a little bit of a state of meditation. I don't know if it's possible. Of course, if you've got a lot of other things and stuff going on, then it's probably not that. It could be that you're getting in a more meditative state. That's one possibility. Like I say, if you're worried about it, do check it out with a doctor or something like that. But I haven't heard that one before, people getting ringing in the ears. But maybe that's useful. Yeah, I was quite into this sound of silence thing for a while, a few years back. I'd sit there and... Yeah, I can just about hear it. You sit there and you just kind of, instead of focusing on noises outside or your thoughts or stuff or the sensation of your body, you really listen inside. And at some point, it's a bit like... it's a little bit different for different people. It's kind of like running water or something, tingly running water, like sitting next to a stream a little bit or something like that, like a little mini waterfall or something like that. Is that kind of, it's like tingly hissing sound. It's more of a hiss, a little bit like when, like a band has been on and they've kind of put their instruments down, but this speaker hiss coming out, nothing, the roadie hasn't been around to switch the amps off yet. A little bit like that. If you're worried at all, get it checked out with a doctor or something like that. In England, you have to kind of exaggerate a bit to get the doctors to actually do anything in terms of like sending you off to hospital to get a little scan or something like that. But it's good to check these things out. Sometimes people are too alternative in their thinking around the medical profession. Medical profession is also okay. You can't be swept away by everything they say, but it's always okay to check things out with a doctor. I hope that's useful to you, Pietro. Feel free to give me more info. And if anyone else has got a question, feel free to stick it out. And remember, I need to kick up the arse. Yeah, you just got to fucking get out of bed and do it. There's a 1, 2, 3 rule, hey? There's a 1, 2, 3 rule, or someone called it the 5 rule or something, was it? These Americans write these books about, they have one rule, which is really great. They write a whole book about it, So many books like that. But it's cool. It's cool to work as well. Just to prove that comment. And they have this countdown from 5. And if you still haven't moved by the time you get to 0, just get up and move, that you need that kind of develop that kind of willpower. And I got resistance every fucking morning, man. Very rare I wake up and think, yeah, I want to do bio. Sometimes I wake up and might feel a bit of a mess and think, yeah, I really want to do some bio so I can feel good. But mostly I just can't. I don't want to fucking do bio, but I will always do it. I just do it. And once I get in there and start to commit, I commit, feel my body at some point quite easily. Then I'm just in it. I'm just in it, and then I'm in it. Get the belly going a bit. And then it's moving, Gibra, I noticed that sound silence when I head up to the north of Scotland where there's no background noise. Oh, right, cool. Yeah, no, this sound of silence, you can look up for Arjan Sumedho. I think it's Sumedho. He wrote a little book about it and some stuff about this sound of silence thing. There's some things on iTunes. He did some 108 talks or something like that with Arjan Sumedho, I don't remember. But he's quite an interesting character. He's had a massive life as well, being in the Navy as a young man, and then going out to Thailand and becoming a Thai Buddhist, and then having been told to set up a Thai Buddhist monastery by the master in Thailand, told him to set one up in England. It was a massive drama for him, but he's a pretty incredible guy. He's about 80 years old now. Pietro, usually after a crucifix. Okay, yeah, I get also cold sweat, tingly feeling. Yeah, that stuff's not too worrying, man. That's usually a sign something's moving. The cold sweat, they're saying like we're like an onion, and you're peeling off layers. That's so true, and you go through layers of holding. Sometimes your body just feels really weird, or tingly or numb. But yeah, cold sweat, or whatever, or spontaneous shaking. You're peeling back the layers, And if something's too much, you can reduce it a bit after the crucifix. So you're doing this outwards and you get the tingly after the noise and ears afterwards. Interesting. I mean, if it's not too loud and scary, and if it goes away fairly soon, then I would not be too concerned about it. But always feel free to check with a doctor. They've got me listening inside now, listening for the sound of silence. I've been doing a bit of meditation the last couple of days. It's good for me, my daily routine. Thank you, so kind. No worries, Pietro. That's what the stream is for, and it's cool. It's how other people get, they get reflections and understandings from your question, So it's cool to put out questions. It's a great idea. I was at a 7-day satsang with this Muji guy a few years back, and I asked a question, and I was a bit nervous about asking it, and he said to me, just put it out, man, because like. A load of other people in the audience might have the same question, and if you don't put it out, then they don't get to hear the answer either. So somewhere you got to be brave and stick those questions out. It's always a bit scary for people, but fuck it, I'm not going to bite anyone's head off. Less than they're taking a piss. People being sincere, opening their heart and asking a question. I'm committed to be sincere back. Simple as that. Anyway, this time of year is kind of not busy for me as therapist. There was going to be like a 12-day intensive going on here at Osho Lila, and that got cancelled because it wasn't properly. I was kind of one of the people co-leading. I wasn't really coming up with a concept, but that never happened. So I'm kind of off this month a bit. I did some filming. I ran a little workshop, and we did some filming to make a promo video for the next Project Man. Project Man's coming back at the beginning of October, and I'll be busy September and October quite a lot of workshops going on and stuff. But the summer months are always a bit quiet. And that's kind of cool in a way, get a little bit of downtime and have a few one-to-one sessions with people and that kind of thing. But it's and then we'll all be rocking back up soon. If you're in the UK, I also recommend something called the Lila Life Training, which is running here at Osho Lila, and I'm involved with quite a few of our groups. It's like 9 weekend workshops, and it's not insanely expensive. I think it's about 1,800 quid. That's fully residential for 9 weekend workshops. It's pretty hot stuff. And you get to do a few groups with me and some other excellent therapists. And it's like what I'm saying a little bit earlier, at some point you have to appreciate that we're carrying around fucking huge, great rock-like blocks inside of us. And getting into some good blast of therapy for a year or two really supports us to get in deeper. It really supports us. It is the way forward. Don't forget the tobacco video. Oh, you're waiting for the tobacco video. Okay. I'll try and remember to bring the tobacco. Let me put it on one side. I've got a little bit of... I was wondering, have I got any more ritual tobacco left? And I found a little bag of it, so that's cool. There's an assortment of different things. This is Balinese ritual tobacco, but you don't have to try and find that stuff. But I'll make a video about that stuff because I haven't used tobacco for a long time, several years now, but I used to be well into it. I mean, it can get a little bit addictive. You have to be careful, but also it's a powerful teaching tool, and there's different ways that you can use it. And it's a great adjunct to body work and bioenergetics. When I first came across it was back in 2004, and this Balinese shamanic master was here at the center, Ratu Bagus, and there'd be about 100 people in the marquee here, all doing this shaking meditation. And then, like every now and again, you could go out and get like a syringe, they called it, and a little syringe of tobacco, not with needle in, of tobacco liquid. They get tobacco, you add a bit of liquid, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then they just sieve it off, and you have a liquid, and you syringe a bit up each nostril and one in your mouth. And I saw these guys doing it, and I thought, what the fuck is that shit? So I wasn't even in the session. I was in the house and I saw it, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go into this. So I went queued up, and I got these 2 syringe shots in my nose and my mouth, and it was like someone had let an atomic bomb off inside my fucking head. And then, I didn't realize that after you've done that, you have to go and shake like crazy, And I had to go back to work and be in a meeting, and my brain was going fucking nuts. So that was my first exposure to tobacco, and then I got quite into it for a while. But I'll put it up. I'll make a video about that next week. I'll do the tobacco video. I'll take it with me to Brighton, where I'm not so busy, and we'll do a tobacco video. I have to remember to bring the syringe with me as well, and I'll show people what it's like. And it's cool. You can use this natural American spirit. If you've got that in Europe, you can get that. I guess you can get it in the States, which is like raw, pure tobacco that hasn't been tainted. You can also drink tobacco liquid. Quite powerful stuff. Anyway, dum. As I've gone on with the bio work, I'm starting to realize I have a problem with feeling guilty. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. When you start with this work, you come out of this kind of blissful state of not really being in the body and just thinking everything's fine. That's part of it, and we start to realize we've got all these feelings inside. I had huge levels of guilt. I don't even know where some of it comes from, but I had a lot of guilt when I was younger, and I there's still times when I'm coming out of guilt, The thing with all of this stuff is the start is to get awareness of it, and then to start to get into moving it a bit. Usually about really silly things. I'm off to a music festival in Hungary next week, and I feel guilty. Do you have anything to say about guilt? So what you feel guilty about going to Hungary because if you feel brave to put it out, then let me know. I mean, guilt is like, I think for me, with guilt, I've got to look, is it real? Is it real? Maybe I have done something bad and I actually need to take some action. Maybe I feel guilty because I didn't do something when I said I was going to do it, or I kind of should have given someone some feedback about something and I didn't do it, or whatever, and I feel guilty. And then, the appropriate action is to find a way to make amends, to go and talk to someone, to do something. But if it's just a general feeling of guilt, then you've got to investigate it and then in some way overcome it a bit. A lot of men hold a lot of guilt around women, almost kind of like a huge ocean of guilt. It sometimes feels like, just like an ocean of guilt about how men have treated women in the past or whatever. And they, we very, very scared of a lot of our kind of animal sexual side as guys, because we feel it's not okay. It's guilt about all sorts of things. Gonna have a blast music festival. For some reason, part of it feels there's something wrong with that. Just had something wrong with just going out and having a really fucking great time. You mean just go out there, go and party hard and have an amazing laugh, I mean, you just have to go and do it and really be aware. Okay, what's that about? Is it coming from your dad or something that you always have to work? I don't know. It's good. It's really great that you're aware of this stuff, because that's the first step to become aware. Hey, I feel guilty about just really having a fucking great time. A lot of people have that. It's not okay just to have a fucking great time. Religion also, of course, Catholic religion always use guilt quite a lot to instill, try and force you into certain kinds of, behaviors, conformist behaviors and stuff like that. Catholics love that shit, man. But the thing is, if you just feel guilty about having a really great time, you can analyze a bit, but also just go out there and have a really great time. Give it to yourself, to transcend it and to see that it's okay and that you're worth it and that it's okay to go out and really fucking enjoy yourself. It's there in the background. Ah, cool. It's there in the background. Yeah. So it's good to, you can track it down like you're looking, track it down. I had that as well, to really go out 100% and have a fucking laugh. I could not really do it, I was always kind of like, it's not really okay, British get this a lot. Americans a little bit less, I think. They're not so restrained by guilt somewhere. It's still there in the psyche, but it's not so strong. It's christened a Catholic. Yeah. Catholics will certainly use guilt on you when you're at a young age. They'll get in there and ram those guilt programs in there for sure. It's pretty grim. But then of course, it also is what it is. A lot of people are trying to complain and change these things. And as I've got older, I've kind of learned the value of the hierarchical structures that we have, that they facilitate a lot of civilization. It's not. So it's like, for me, I've learned slowly over the years to stop protesting and complaining about the world, but just to accept what I took on that wasn't useful for me, and to take responsibility to move it out, not to go into the whole blame thing so much. But for sure, Catholicism has got, certainly in terms of sexual guilt, it's certainly right up there, particularly for women as well. It's, God, having been out with quite a few Mediterranean women in my time, there's some, there's this very strong dynamic for them with sexual energy. The Catholics really like to keep it under control, or the priests do. But hey, man, cool that you put it out. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to do like another few minutes. If you've got any questions or stuff to ask, then feel free to put it out. I'm kind of thinking to do these like once a month or so, because I kind of went from doing them every week to zero, and it was a bit. And a few people were like, where are the live streams? Or I've got questions or whatever. So that people do have a place where they can ask questions. So I'll try and get one together in August as well. Maybe later on. I'm hosting a festival here at Lila for 2 weeks. So it's one of my annual tasks. So it's for last year I'm doing it. So I'll be kind of busy with that. But I will probably after that try and do another month. Try and do one. It's motivating. Once a month would be great. Cool, man. Cool. Okay, guys, if you're watching and you got a question, feel free to stick it out. Otherwise, I'm going to bring the stream to a close. I don't think there's anything burning else that's going on, but I should talk about. I talked about workshops that are coming up. Also, if you hear this later, and you're in the UK, Project Man is going on. That's awesome at the beginning of October. A weekend with the guys in Brighton. Real step up and really, get into your balls, your belly, and your heart stuff. Really become the whole man. It's a very powerful workshop. It's the most powerful workshop of its kind that I know of. personally. I'm not bullshitting you. If I knew something that was more powerful, I would say. I don't know anything that's as powerful as that is. Project Man. Women's Say No has now become the women's anger group. If you're a woman and you've got issues with anger, like you get too angry or you just can't get angry and hold safe boundaries, there's a one-day workshop I'm running at the end of September in Brighton. That'll be an excellent chance to make a lot of progress with anger. And also, I Want Change, which is the first workshop of the Leela Life Training. It's run by myself and Purna, very talented lady therapist, and there'll be about 30, 40 people on that here in Dorset. And that's going to be an awesome group as well. It's like an introduction to body-based therapy, emotional release, screaming and shouting, and all this kind of stuff. So, really think about it. If you've been a little bit of an armchair participant, listening to Elliot Hulse or me or Jocko or all these kind of motivational kind of guys, maybe it's time that you got out of the armchair and really put yourself in a weekend workshop and took a risk and jumped up, So just have a little reflect upon that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll look at trying to do another one next month. And it's been awesome having this space with you. And I'll speak to you all later, guys. Bye for now. Oh.